Hey, it's Regina here at Tarot and Time in Kent, Connecticut, and let's talk about April. So, April comes from the Latin word apparere. I don't think I'm pronouncing it right. Apparere, to open. Okay, so, every year at this time, we're coming into spring here in Northwest Connecticut, and this is Aries season that we're starting to move into. Now, that happens every year at this time, right? Things begin to open, the flowers start to pop through the ground. But this year is really interesting because if you've been listening to the previous months, I have been referencing the month of April for a long time now, because April is when we really start seeing things move. Now, we always see things move as we go into Aries season, the cardinal fire season, and cardinal is the energy that pushes forward the season. So we always have that vibe this time of year, but this year is really interesting because of all the retrogrades that have been going on. And if you've listened for a while, you know that we've had retrogrades since about October of last year. And a lot of, there's always the outer planets always seem to be, one of them is always retrograding. That's just how it's going to be. But we really pay attention when the inner planets are retrograding, because those are called the personal planets. And those are the ones that affect us more. Those are the ones that travel closer to the sun. Those are Mercury, the planet of communication, and Venus, the planet of harmony and peacemaking and relationships, and Mars, the planet of action. Well, we know we had Mars retrograding through October, November, December, all the way till February. Then we went into the the Venus retrograde on March 1st, and that goes until April 12th. And then we went into the Mercury retrograde from March 14th to April 6th. So really and truly, these retrograde shadow periods are still going to affect us through most of the month. We're really not going to be out of the clear of that until May. So Venus retrograde basically took us back from 10 degrees in Aries to 24 degrees of Pisces, back to where we were on January 28th of 2025. So we were looking at themes of our impulsive spending, breaking cycles, and then we're going to feel the effect of that Venus retrograde all the way until May 16th. So even though the retrograde will end this month, hallelujah, we still are going to be in that shadow period, or that shadow period is the third swipe over the same ground. So the third swipe back over, final swipe over everything that's been happening since January 28th. So this is very interesting in regards to your relationships, especially the one with yourself, in regards to your relationship with your wallet. Okay, it's very, very interesting. Now, Mercury retrograde started 314, goes till 46, and it started at 9 degrees of Aries and went back to 26 degrees Pisces. So we've got Mercury and Venus kind of just like dancing around with each other. Now, we're going to feel the effect of the Mercury retrograde up until August 25th. And when we get to April 25th. And when we get to April 25th, we'll be at the same place, same degrees that we were at on February 28th. So we're going back over pretty much everything that's been going on since the beginning of the year, maybe the end of January on. Now, we went through all the eclipses last month, and things are going to start to shift this month. And I think everybody's been wanting the shift. And it's been a long winter here in New England, and it's been a long couple months here for our country. And so we have a lot on our minds, we have a lot going on, but we can look forward to the fact that we're going to feel some shifts this month. And that's a good thing. A lot of planets, remember, this is always Aries season. So we always have the sun moving into Aries. We always have the personal planets making their way eventually into Aries around this time or close to it, because they always travel pretty close to the sun. But this year we have Neptune finally changing signs, and that's a big deal. Just on the 30th of March, Neptune left the sign of Pisces, where it's been since 2011. Some astrologers say that Neptune in Pisces was part of like the metaphysical new age experience that we've really seen happen since about 2011, where, I can't imagine that tarot and astrology were as popular as they are now since 2011, right? It's become much more socially acceptable. So now we're going to have Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion, the planet of creativity. I think of it as the planet that represents karma. I think of it as the planet of fog, right? Like Neptune fog, but also can be clear vision, especially in the creative manner. So a lot of times when we say something rules something in astrology, it's both extremes. So Neptune is foggy, lack of clarity, delusion. It's also clear vision, creativity. So now Neptune is going to move into a sign of action, a sign of purpose, Aries. So it's going to be very interesting to see. This is almost like these outer planets are the ones, especially ones like Neptune, that move at this rate. They're almost the definition of the generations, okay, are highly affected by the placement of these outer planets. So we know that Saturn's going to move into Aries next month in May. So we're going to have big planetary changes. These planets that don't make moves very often, all of a sudden are going to make big moves. Now, yeah, they'll retrograde back into Pisces a bit, but we're going to have fresh energy coming in. And we already had Pluto make its move at the beginning of the year. So we're really moving into new times here. So let's envision them being as positive as possible. Now, we have a full Libra moon this month, and we'll have a Taurus new moon this month, also ruled by Venus. And so it's a good month that Venus does finally go direct when both the full moon and the new moon are related to signs that Venus rules. And let's see where we left off last month. And, before I do that, I'm going to show you the cards that I picked, because I picked a couple cards to just be like the theme cards for the whole month. And I did look at these cards in advance. And the first card that I picked for the month of month of April as a whole, I got the 5 of Fire, and this is Black Cohosh here. This is from the beautiful Herb Crafters Tarot. And so we've got a number of change, 5, which we know we need. Fire, passion. We're moving into a fire season with the sun being in the sign of Aries this month. And Black Cohosh. So I looked up in my little book here. It says anger is sacred. Burn through the slumber of helplessness and complacency. Resist. Women's rage is a force that will change the world. I did not look at this. I did not pre-choose this card. I just pulled a card, and that was for the month of April. And it really couldn't sum it up more. I mean, I know for myself, I've been thinking about forming some kind of women's group at my Kent shop. This is the time when we as women need to come together and speak out. And so it's very fitting to me that this 5 of Fire shows up here at the beginning of the month in a fire month. And I love that it says anger is sacred, because it almost feels sometimes like we feel like we're doing something wrong if we feel anger, but we need to feel stirred to make change. Okay. We don't have to use our anger in a negative manner. It says that the plant Black Cohosh is a tincture that supports the female reproductive system. So I guess you can buy this in tincture form, and you can use it for reproductive system health, alleviating pain, releasing stuck fluids from the body. Black Cohosh teaches us to harness the power of our own creative source. As the tall flower bends easily in the wind, we can cultivate a strong, flexible, backbone. Okay, so Black Cohosh, 5 of Fire, starting us up here, using our anger in the proper way and supporting women. Okay, check with your natural path if Black Cohosh sounds like the right plant for you. Okay, the second card that came out is the 3 of Wands. And this is a beautiful 3 of Wands here. This is from the Witch's Garden, Sasha Graham's deck. Okay, so 3 of Wands, and I like that it's lotus flower and it's almost like opened, right? And we were talking about April being the opening, okay, the unfolding, and to open is what it means. So it looks like these lotus flowers are opening. And she's going inward. She's got her eyes closed and she's getting really clear, really grounded. She's got like the element of water, fire. She's out there in earth and in the fresh air. It's really beautiful. A lot of really feminine empowerment cards here. All right, now the next card that shows up for our theme for the month is the Magician. And this is from the Animal Speaks Tarot. I don't have the box back there, but it's one of my favorites. I love Animal Speaks. Actually, Animal Speaks is a book. It's Animal Totem, I think is what it's called. So it's a great deck, though. We have it in stock in Kent. And pretty soon you should see some of our tarot decks showing up on our website, too. We're going to get our online store going. So keep an eye out, too. Any of these decks that I'm using here today, we should have in stock. So I like this fox version of the Magician. This is, I think, the cover photo on the box. And so I'm really, I love the Magician. I really do. I love Scorpio. I'm a lot of Scorpio. There's an intensity to Scorpio. The Magician is the first teacher that the Fool meets on his journey through the tarot deck. And the Magician teaches him that everything and anything is possible. So we've got some themes here. We've got some kind of power to the people, women's advocating for themselves. We've got some inward motion of really being out in the elements, which is a beautiful thing because up here in New England, it's been a cold, icy winter. So it's nice to see some fresh energy there. And then we see the Magician. Now remember, the Magician, I think of it as Scorpio, but also some schools of thought call it Mercury, call it a Gemini card. And Mercury is in its retrograde. And Mercury does rule merchants, and it also rules tricksters. So be aware that the Magician has shown up here. And interesting how the trickster comes out with women's rights themes also. I think that's very, very pivotal to our time right now. Okay, so this is your pre-reading. Oh, I had one more, and this is from the Osho Zen Tarot, which I use more as an oracle. And this Master card showed up, and he really looks like the Hermit to me. And the moon is full behind him. So the Hermit's there to give us the wisdom, the master, right? So maybe he's master over his own emotions with that big moon behind him. So the master in Zen is not a master over others, but a master of himself. His every gesture, his every word reflects his enlightened state. Once your awareness becomes a flame, it burns up the whole slavery that the mind has created. There is no blissfulness more precious than freedom, than being a master of your own destiny. So it's just I took a little bit from the book on that Master card, but beautiful, beautiful cards here for the month ahead. So let's jump in where we left off last month, which is on March 31st through April 6th. And we know that we're going to end this week with Mercury retrograde ending. I don't think anybody's upset about that. All right, so we're going to have smoother energy. We just have to get through this 1 week. We know that the day before, on the 30th, we had Neptune move into Aries. And we know the day before that, we had the solar eclipse and the new moon in Aries. So there's a lot of fresh energy here. New moon in Aries affecting us for a few days after, as we start off the week of March 31st. The solar eclipse having brought us something. Remember, we were doing that purge on the lunar eclipse. That was mid-month. I think it was the 14th, of March. And then we had the solar eclipse bringing us something on the new moon in Aries on the 29th. So this is kind of still lingering with us as we move into the week of March 31st through April 6th. And there is a lot of planets together. Okay. There's a lot of scrunched up energy still, although the planets are starting to move out of the sign of Pisces and into the sign of Aries. So there's a big difference in how we're going to feel. Now, there's a lot of positive Venus energy starting us off on Monday the 31st, so enjoy the bliss and be open to new ideas. We have the moon in the beautiful sign of Taurus on Monday the 31st. Now, we move into April Fool's Day, and we're going to be celebrating our 5-year anniversary at Tarot and Time in Kent, Connecticut starting on the 1st of the month. So we're going to have lots of specials and giveaways and promos. So I'll be posting some links below. Now, April 1st, I wrote down that the Fool's Journey is available. There's new ideas, risks to take, but wait until retrograde ends. Okay. And I wrote down mid-April because we're still going to have that Venus retrograde go until the 12th. And then we do have all that shadow period. So this is where it gets a little confusing because all this Aries energy wants to charge forward, wants to just go for it. But yet these retrogrades are making us delay a little bit. So we may be feeling the spark of fire energy, but we do need to hold back a little bit before launching into too much newness because the retrogrades still haven't finished and all the information isn't available yet. Now, we will have the moon in Gemini as we move into Wednesday the 2nd. Gemini loves to socialize, and it's trining the planet Pluto. So sometimes when Pluto's involved, there's a lot of power involved, or it could be a lot of intensity, it could be a lot of fun, and it does rule sex. So it could be a fun day on Wednesday the 2nd. Just remember that we will still be revisiting all that is happening now because we are still in the retrograde. Now, the 3rd, you have to go easy on the 3rd because the moon is square Mercury and Venus and Saturn and Neptune. So it's not the easiest, smoothest day on Thursday the 3rd. So it's more challenging, but your creativity is going to run really high. So enjoy that. Now, the 4th is a much smoother day. There's really not as many aspects going on. So it's also a great day for meetings, especially meetings that have marketing themes as the moon moves into Cancer later in the evening. So those evening marketing calls, Zoom calls, those are the good ones on Friday the 4th. We will move into the moon being in Cancer all day on Saturday the 5th. And so you can get stuff done with ease on Saturday the 5th because the moon is going to be together with Mars, the planet of action. And Mars has gone direct, so we will have more easily moving energy there. And then we know that the Mercury retrograde ends the next day, so that's pretty exciting. So it's a great day to, clean your house, get things done. On the 6th, last day of Mercury retrograde, hang in there. It actually goes direct on the 7th. By 7:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 7th. So the 6th is the last day, and just keeping in mind that it will all be revisited. Okay, so these are the cards from the month ahead, right? Those are the overview for the month. Now I'm going to give you a couple cards for the week ahead. see what you need to know this last week of the Mercury Retrograde. And we'll give you a little oracle card here. We're getting two, I guess. Okay, so here you go. For the week ahead, we have the Three of Pentacles here. That crane gets my attention. It looks like a heron over there in the corner. I think they're one of my spirit animals. I love watching herons. Okay, and we see some kind of, well, we know that the Three of Pentacles is about collaboration, right? And it looks like maybe one gentleman is handing the other gentleman some kind of musical instrument, I think it is. It's interesting how the heron is considered like the third member of this party. So we've got some collaborations going on, and it's interesting because like herons spend a lot of time alone. They are known to like raise their children alone. They usually only come together with their partner for mating. So it's kind of interesting that the heron is there. Although I do find that herons, I do a lot of paddle boarding, and I find that they watch you like as much as I'm trying to watch them. I've caught them watching me before. So I think it's kind of interesting that the heron's there kind of observing everyone, and also that he doesn't really like interact with others much, and here he is. So maybe during this Gemini moon energy midweek that you get out and maybe socialize a little bit more. Maybe you don't usually do that, but you show up this week now, especially if it's for music. Now, the Four of Fire, Elder, this is from the Herb Crafters Tarot, one of my absolute favorite decks. And somebody is having a grand old time here cooking down this elder, maybe making some kind of tonic out of that. And so the fire's burning in the background. Looks like there's a big creative project going on here. We said that there was a lot of creative energy this week, and it's almost like she's bottling up her stuff. I said something about marketing, right? So maybe you're marketing your products here. Maybe you're meeting with others. Maybe you're socializing. And the Hermit shows up, and this is our card of the year in 2025, because we know 2025 equals the number 9, and that is the Hermit. Like that this is a female version. Little mice down there by her feet. So your major arcana that's shown up here for the week ahead, the Hermit. So we want to take some alone time, right? But it's interesting that we started off with the Heron. So it's like alone time, but then maybe showing up sometimes that you're not, people might be surprised to see you. But the Hermit is there. Hermit needs his quiet alone time to hear his inner voice. And so make sure that you're getting both of those extremes, showing up and taking the time out. You've got the Exhaustion card here. It's an interesting card. Okay, so there's some exhaustion here. So I think the Elder is used for immunity more than it is for exhaustion. But make sure, looks like you've been doing a lot. Make sure that you take care of this exhaustion and get some downtime. This is also card number 9, so is the Hermit. And then your extra card is nothingness, card number 5. So we just got this black piece of paper. So it looks to me like you need some sleep. All right. There needs to be some nothingness. You need to just chill. Okay. So make sure that it looks like maybe if you look at this as like beginning of the week, social energy towards the beginning, working on your projects, but then taking care of your well-being towards the end of the week. And that's really easier when the moon is in water signs like Cancer, like it'll be on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday till about lunchtime. So watery times are great times to get extra rest. So go ahead and take advantage of that. I'm going to roll you some dice too. Let's see what we get here. We have Uranus in the sign of Virgo in the 3rd house. Okay, Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. I often refer to it as the oh wow planet. Things can come in out of the blue. We've got Virgo here, which is the organizer, the analyzer, likes to get everything in order. And third house is your house of your environment. So I get from this, you might get some unexpected guests, like almost like this heron was kind of unexpectedly showing up here. You might have a big mess going on here all over the table. So I would make sure that you get things in order at the beginning of the week. And because there's a little bit of social energy showing up with the third house, it's also the house of communication and writing. So you may have some good thoughts and ideas that come through. But I would say get things together in your home earlier in the week. Now we're moving into the week of April 7th through April 13th, and we are heading to a full Libra moon. So this week we start off, this is a really, really exciting week because Mercury goes direct on Monday, the 7th at 7:08 a.m. So we get up and get going with the day, and we have Mercury finally moving forward. But remembering that even though it is finally out of retrograde, which is when I do start making purchases again, but I do pay attention to the fact that this is the third swipe over the same ground that we've already been over twice before of all that's happened since February 28th. So keep that in mind that we still are going to revisit those things. So watch what comes up, and hopefully you kept a journal through this period. Now on Tuesday, 4/8, we will have the moon in the sign of Leo until 9:40 a.m. when it moves into the sign of Virgo. And I put down for the 8th, the answers are in the details. Lots of analytical energy there and a good time to take a look at details. Now, Wednesday, the 9th, the moon's in Virgo. It's going to be opposite a couple of those planets that are still hanging out in Pisces, which is Venus, because it retrograded back to Pisces, Saturn, which is finishing up its final degrees in Pisces, and Mercury, which also retrograded back to Pisces. So we've got a lot of activity. We've got the moon on one side, we've got all those planets on the other side. And then we have a trine, a positive aspect, positive triangle going on with Uranus, the oh wow planet. So there could be a lot of pulls on us to our relationships, our responsibilities, where we need to speak up. All those planets on one side, Virgo moon on the other side, trying to keep everything detailed and organized. And then Uranus coming in and just, bringing in some surprises. So Wednesday the 9th, get stuff done, but don't forget to relax and rest up. Anytime we have planets in water signs, we need a little more rest. Now, Thursday the 10th, the moon continues to be in Virgo. It will move into Libra at 9:12 p.m. as we're heading into our full moon. So just keep in mind that things are wacky. It's a full moon. The retrogrades are ending, but full moons are always wacky. And this is a relationship full moon. Venus in the sign of Libra, ruled by Venus, the relationship sign, a sign of harmony, a sign of legal matters. And now we're starting to get into the time period where we can actually make some decisions about legal matters. So on Thursday the 10th, the moon's going to be opposite Saturn, the planet of responsibility, hardship, all that stuff, but also the planet of long-term success. So the work-rest balance is key on Thursday the 10th. It's key always, but especially on Thursday the 10th. Venus goes direct on Friday 4/11 at 9:02 p.m. and it's going to start its third swipe over all that's happened since January 28th. We move into a full moon weekend, a full relationship moon weekend. And let's see. We also keep in mind too, we have that Mars-Pluto opposition happening again. And this is, I believe, the third time it's happened. It happened in the beginning of the year in January on the 3rd. It happened Well, we had a few times. So Mars, the planet of action, the god of war in Greek mythology, opposite Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, which would be Hades in Greek mythology. So we've got some intensity going on there, and let's not forget that. And let's not forget that we also have a full moon that brings in intensity, and it's a relationship full moon. So Saturday, don't forget about what you want, okay? This Libras are, I love you Libras, you tend to cater to others' needs and sometimes forget about your own. So do not forget about your own, what you want on Saturday. This is a 23-degree Libra full moon, and it's going to be opposite the sun in Aries, Chiron, our soul's wound, and Eris, which is considered like Mars's cousin. She's got a little edge to her there. So there's an intensity there, and we may see some old wounds show up, and we may see some frustration and maybe a little inner rage there with Eris show up, okay? And it's also trine Jupiter, so things can get really big when Jupiter's involved. Let this be beautiful, wonderful things. Let this be the old wounds healing. Let this be that you're able to like speak up and be heard and felt and considered, and enjoy this beautiful full moon with Venus going direct right after the full moon. So the full moon's at 8:22 p.m. and then Venus goes direct at 9:02 p.m. So I'm not sure like what exactly that means, but it seems really interesting to me that it goes direct right shortly after. So we get this last bit of this, we kind of end this Venus retrograde with the full moon in a Venus sign just minutes before Venus goes direct. I don't know what that is. I feel like there's going to be something to that. So just pay attention. It's an interesting little lineup there. So then we move into Sunday the 13th, and by 9:54 a.m. the moon will have moved into Scorpio. So we've got this relationship moon weekend, and then we move into Scorpio, a sign that does rule sex. So I really hope you do have a fabulous Libra full moon weekend. Keep it cool, speak your truth, and try not to argue with anyone. Let's pull a couple cards there for this full moon week ahead. Now, the other cards were the cards from the month ahead. Oh, I guess you're getting two of those. So we'll leave the month ahead cards there, and we'll see what the week ahead brings. So let's see what we have here. The Herb Crafter's Tarot. We have the Ace of Air, and this is Yarrow. So I was kind of just saying, like, let's have a great week. Let's try not to get into arguments because it's just too easy. And then Ace of Air, Yarrow. Ace of Air is like a new thought, new idea, would be the Ace of Swords traditionally. And then it's Yarrow, which is a plant that is used for wounds. Okay, so let's be aware of that. Let's be careful with our words, not causing too many wounds. We've got the Two of Wands here. And so 2 is a relationship number. Wands is fire or passion. We see some kind of underwater creature. I don't know what that is. Is it a hippopotamus? Is that possible? I'm not sure what animal that is, but there it is. You can see it clearly. And it's like you can see it in between these two wands at that moment. So what is that thing? Is it a seal? I'm not sure. I can't find the book that goes along with it, but there's some kind of creature. It almost looks like a rock. But there's a 2. So it's like that moment of time. If you were there at that moment, you would see this. Okay. So it's almost like right place, right time, relationship number. And so maybe taking a little time out this week during this relationship weekend to enjoy walking on the beach. Here's the 8 of Wands, full speed ahead here, horsepower. And so there's a lot of passion and forward movement. We just don't want to go too fast yet until these retrogrades completely end, which we are coming out of it right now, and we're rearing to go. There's the guilt card. Okay. Now, please remember that guilt is optional. Sometimes we forget that. Let's get another card over the guilt card so we don't have to stare at that one. And we've got the friendliness card. Okay, and it's a 2. I'm going to put that over the guilt card because we know that the guilt might show up, but we're going to choose otherwise, and we're choosing friendliness. We're choosing to be kind to ourselves, so we're not going to accept that guilt. And yarrow is a great plant to keep in mind, and just the idea of watching our words. I think with the guilt card there, it's about ourselves. And it almost feels like, don't let it run, like that horse is running so fast. Let's not let these words just like really hurt us, because that's what I think it is. I think it's words to ourself. And this is a Libra full moon. We're talking about all relationships. And I think this one has a lot to do with ourselves. Okay. So drop the guilt. All right. We're moving into the week of April 14th through April 20th. And yes, all the personal planets are direct. I think actually all the planets are direct. So this is what we've been waiting for. I have been telling everyone, please try to wait till April 15th before making any major decisions. Now remember, we're still in those shadow periods. We're going to be in the shadow period of the Venus retrograde until May 16th. And we'll be in the shadow period of the Mercury retrograde until April 25th. But technically, all the planets are direct. And I'll tell you, sometimes that's just good enough for me. Now, we start off the week with the moon in the power sign of Scorpio on Monday the 14th. Take it slow and trust when your body speaks to you via feelings, okay? Intuition runs high. Still got a few planets in water signs, and the moon in the water sign of Scorpio through till Tuesday evening. So intuition runs high, creativity runs high, just move slowly. Now, Mercury enters the sign of Aries, so it returns to the sign of Aries after retrograding back into Pisces. It's really easy to put your foot in your mouth on Wednesday the 16th, so watch your words. Now, the 17th, we'll have the moon will move into the sign of Sagittarius. And the moon is going to be square Venus on the 17th. So just kind of do your own thing. It'll be easier. Mars is going to move into Leo. And I think that's a good thing because Mars, it did that whole retrograde thing and it ended up spending I forget, it was something ridiculous, 6 months in the sign of Cancer. And Mars doesn't usually stay that long in a sign, but because of all that retrograding that was going on, it's finally moving into the sign of Leo, where it's going to be a heck of a lot happier than the watery sign of Cancer that just moves a little too slow for Mars. So Mars into the fire sign of Leo. Now, the 18th, when Mars moves to Leo, I wrote down forward movement at last. Okay. Leo rules the heart chakra. There's a lot of joy. Let's bring joy into our actions moving ahead. Now we move into the weekend, and we're going into Taurus season, which is very exciting. On Saturday the 19th, the sun will enter Taurus at 3:56 p.m. So we'll have a lot of grounded energy there with the sun moving into the fixed sign of Taurus, ruled by the planet Venus, which is a beautiful thing. Now, Sunday, I wrote down, for Saturday, I said don't push too hard for your way because things it might be a little tough to get your way on Saturday. On Sunday, we have Easter Sunday, 420, and roll with the changes. Again, don't push too hard for your way. We have the sun square the moon, and we have the moon close together with Pluto, and it's opposite Mars, and it's just a little spicy and a little intense. I already talked about Mars being the god of war in Greek mythology, and Pluto being Hades in Greek mythology. They're right across from each other. This is the third time that this has happened in the recent past, and things can get feisty. So please don't push too hard. Try to have a beautiful, happy Easter. Let's pull a couple cards for this Easter week and this Taurus season week. Let's see what you need to know here. I haven't looked at any of these cards yet. I've got a couple great decks I'm working with here. And so these cards on the top are the leftovers from the month ahead, right? So we have those themes up there. Now this is for this week here. This finally with the planets direct week. And we're starting off with the Oak King. This is the Hanged Man traditionally. So when you've got the Hanged Man here, Pisces energy, we know we're starting to move out of that. This is the card of the divine delay. We did say in the beginning of the week to kind of go slow with all the water energy. So I think that's just a continuation of that. The Star has come out. This is your second major arcana that's showing up. And so this is a card of your hopes and your dreams. Some things being removed, getting some things out of your way. I love they look like morning glories in the background. Okay, two major arcana. So we've got some life lessons here to be learned this week. We have the Knight of Wands here. Knight of Wands is the bad boy of the tarot deck. This one's an ostrich, and we know the ostrich has to be really careful about protecting his neck. And so we've got some spicy fire energy there, especially as Mars moves into Leo towards the end of the week. Let's see what your oracle card is. It's morality. All right. This is an interesting looking card. Can't quite make out what the pictures are. It looks a little abstract. But we have the morality card. Let's pull one more. And it is ordinariness. Okay. Looks peaceful. Ordinariness and morality. So you may have some moral questions this week. Knight of Wands can be somebody spicy showing up. Okay. And so take it slow this week, starting off the week with two major arcanas, two major life lessons cards. Having fun with the Knight of Wands there, but keeping the idea of morality in mind this week, what yours are, and ordinariness looks pretty peaceful, so I wouldn't write that off too easy, okay? The simple pleasures, we're moving into beautiful weather here, and enjoy those simple pleasures. Okay, we're moving into the week of April 21st through April 27th, and this is the Taurus new moon week. So this is our second moon that's Venus ruled this month, and thank goodness Venus is direct. Now we start off, so we are in it. We are in no retrogrades. This is our Earth Day week and a beautiful new moon week. So we start off the week with the moon in the sign of Aquarius on Monday, the 21st. And let's see, we've got a bunch of nice trines. We've got Mars trine Neptune. We've got a moon trine Jupiter. And a whole bunch of planets. There's trines. Mars is trine Venus and Mercury and Saturn, and wow, lots going on there on the Monday the 21st. I wrote down passion and creativity run high. Think out of the box. That's certainly an Aquarius thing to do. Think out of the box. Now, Tuesday the 22nd is Earth Day. Make sure your actions are positive or you could get caught. And why did I say that? That's interesting. Well, Mars is square the sun. So your action is squaring being visible. So be very, it's almost like I have like this vision of you like at the dump throwing your recycling in the wrong bin and you get caught, okay, on Earth Day. So yeah, just be aware that things can be seen. Uranus is also square the moon, or the moon is square Uranus. So it's an interesting day. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. The moon will be in Aquarius. Aquarius is the humanitarian, and it is Earth Day. So it's a perfect day with the moon in Aquarius. By Wednesday, April 23rd, we have 4 planets in the sign of Pisces. And the moon is going to be square Uranus. So creativity continues. Encourage yourself. On Thursday, the 24th, we'll have the moon moving into the sign of Pisces. Actually, we had it there on the 23rd. It'll also be there on the 24th. And the moon will be close to Venus, Saturn, Neptune, and Mercury, Chiron, and the sun. So there's a lot of intensity there. There's going to be a lot of planets scrunched up together. The support is in place for you to go for your goals. Envision it working out. That's on Thursday, the 24th. Now, Friday, the 25th, we still have all those planets kind of scrunched together, and the moon will be right on top of Mercury, the planet of communication. And this is when Mercury finishes its 3rd swipe over all that's happened since February 28th. So Mercury was moving along. It got to March 14th. It retrograded. It went backwards. I know it's an optical illusion, but it goes backwards in degrees in astrology. So it was moving along. It gets to March 14th. It moves backwards. It goes all the way back to the date of the same degree as February 28th. And then it goes direct and goes back over it again. This is the 3rd swipe. And it's finished up here on Friday, the 25th. So what have you learned? What have you learned since February 28th? Now, we're going into the weekend, and we are heading to the Taurus new moon. So on Saturday, the 26th, the moon will have moved into the sign of Aries. It will be together with Chiron and Eris. So some old wounds may show up, but the old wounds are healing, and the new you is emerging. All right, as we go towards this Taurus, this value moon, we're going to envision the new version of ourselves emerging. Now, the new moon happens on Sunday, the 27th at 3:31 p.m. It's a 7-degree Taurus new moon, and it's going to be square Mars, the planet of action, and Pluto, the planet of transformation. This is when Mars and Pluto are at their exact degrees of opposition. So it's going to be interesting to see what these 2 planets that really want to bring in change are going to, what value that they're going to bring into the situation with this Taurus new moon. Now let's pick a few cards for this new moon week. I love the sign Taurus, and it rules all the beautiful things, right? It rules Mother Earth. It rules jewelry, clothing, gardens, beautiful meal. So there's a lot of beauty here going on. All right, let's see what we've got. These are the cards for the month ahead on the top, and this is for the week ahead. Mother of Earth, creosote bush, Madre of Earth. Okay, that's what Taurus is, right? Earth Mother. So here's the Queen of Pentacles showing up here, starting us off. She's making this offering. We have the Chariot here. I think that's a killer whale. And there is a lot of forward movement going on there, okay? So the Chariot, okay. We also have the Tower. So we've got 2 major arcanas. This is an interesting tower. Looks like they're falling out of the treehouse, but yet there's a net down here. They're some kind of animal friends down there holding up the net for them. So you're being saved, you know. So you got Queen energy, you've got the Chariot forward moving energy, and you've got the Tower. Some things may be falling apart, but somebody's got your back. Okay. And like I said on Thursday, the 24th, envision it working out. And your old wounds are healing. The new you is showing up. And it's almost like I almost envision this as like scooting out the old you. It's enough. Your oracle card is past lives. This is a wild card. Look at that. You can see all the generations behind them. Past lives. We just added on past life regression with my mentor Sheila Haidt. What's one of our new offerings in Kent. I got to do it, and it was so cool. Like anytime you spend time with Sheila Haidt, it's pretty amazing. But she gets you really she talks you into a meditation and just gets you really relaxed. And if you can just let yourself just kind of go with what she's saying. And it's almost, I was comparing it to watching TV. Like I just started to I was so calm that I just kind of watched what showed up in my mind. And I got such a great storyline out of it that made so much sense to me. Like these are the kind of things like when you feel it, you know it. And so I had some themes come up that really clicked. So I really, really highly recommend Sheila. And so if you're looking for anyone to do past life regression, go to our website, check it out, tarotandtime.com. That's time, THYME. And I'll put some links below also. So you've got some past lives showing up, and it's interesting because I was talking about that tower card next to it, okay, that's enough, right? So it's like almost like releasing these old versions of ourself. And here's like the offering up, and here's just like full speed ahead, unstoppable. Let me throw some dice on here. Uranus, Libra, 8th house. Okay, so Uranus, the oh wow planet in the sign of Libra, the relationship sign. We just had a Libra full moon. And the 8th house is Scorpio's house, transformation. So we see something out of the blue. Uranus actually rules the tower card right there. In relationship, 8th house, transformation and change. 8th house would kind of be almost like, I always think of 8th house as like your ancestors. And even though this is a past life card, kind of has a ring to it of ancestors. So interesting. Maybe some information will show up for you about your ancestors. Maybe some old friends will show up for you. Often Uranus is just like, wow, here it is. And in the relationship sign of Libra, in the 8th house, Scorpio's house of transformation and change. So have a great week ahead. As we move into the final week of April, which is April 28th through May 4th, and this is the week of Beltane. So April 28th, the moon will still be in the sign of Taurus because we're coming down off that Taurus new moon. Now, the moon is going to be together with Uranus, the oh wow planet. So things can happen kind of out of the blue. It's going to be sextile Venus, which is a very positive aspect, and it's going to be trine Pluto. So I wrote down for Monday the 28th that love shows up out of the blue. Just say yes, okay? Love shows up. This could be love in a lot of different forms, but it's showing up for you, so please accept. Now, Tuesday, the 29th, the moon will be trine Pluto. It's going to move into the sign of Gemini early in the morning. So get out and about and have fun. Still coming down off this Taurus new moon. And Taurus is just a lovely, beautiful sign. So enjoy the lovely, beautiful energy. Now, Wednesday the 30th will continue to have the moon in Gemini. It's going to be close to Jupiter, which makes things big. It's going to be square Venus, Saturn, and Neptune as Venus moves into the sign of Aries on the 30th. Okay, so it retrograded, so it's coming back into the sign of Aries. Wednesday the 30th is a good day to just get your office work done and focus. It's not the best day with others just because of all the squares going on. Now we move into May Day, the 1st of May, May Day. Celebrate the ripeness of spring. Make sure to consider others' needs. The moon's going to move into Cancer early in the morning. We're still going to have that square with Venus and Neptune. Mars is also going to be square the sun. So it's not the most smoothest day, but distract yourself. See if you can find a maypole to dance around. That's always a good time. And celebrate spring, because the whole thing with Beltane, right? Wasn't it a pagan god, pagan celebration to the lady and the lord, right? To the green man and I want to say empress, but it's not really the empress. I think it's just fertile woman. So it's a fertility, rites of passage. It is a celebration of spring, and you don't have to dance under a maypole, but you can sure as heck be excited that spring is here. Now, Friday the 2nd is a much smoother day, okay? There is going to be a square with Mercury, but there will be a lovely trine with Venus, Saturn, and Neptune, and Mars will be trine Venus. So it's a smoother day for love. Just watch your words a little bit. That's the day to go find the maypole to dance around. Distract yourself with fun things and don't have a lot of deep conversations on Friday the 2nd. Now, we move into the weekend, and the moon will move into Leo. So we're going to have a lovely Leo weekend. So on Saturday the 3rd, the moon will enter Leo at 7:29 a.m. and the moon will be close to Mars. It will be opposite Pluto, and then it will have all those trines going on. So choose love, not war. There's a lot of feisty energy with the Mars-Pluto opposition still lingering, okay? But there's a lot of opportunity for smooth, harmonious energy also with the trine with Venus. Now, Sunday the 4th, get out and about and have fun. We have the moon trining Mercury now. We've got Venus trining Mars. We've got a lot of good things going on there and the moon in Leo. Just go and have a great time. There's a lot of fun energy this Beltane week. Now, we do go into a retrograde here. We have Pluto beginning its first retrograde. Well, it's not going to move back into the sign of Capricorn. So all you Capricorns can be relieved with that. It's just going to go back to 1 degree of Aquarius, okay? So Pluto retrograde will start on the 4th and it will go till October 13th. Again, these are the outer planets that tend to always be in a retrograde, but we are thankfully finished up with the personal planet retrogrades, Mars, Venus, and Mercury. So we're off the hook for couple months here. So get out and about and have fun this Sunday, the 4th of May. Now I'm going to use some Beltane cards here for you. Let's do 2 Beltane cards. Oh, nope. It says 3 Beltane cards. All right, we'll start with 3 Beltanes. Let's see what we got. Inner power. Let it be known, no will or desire is more powerful than I, embodied. Inner power. Okay. Hand fasting. The pulls pulse through all that I am. No hidden form is left untouched. I am willing, I am risking, for I yearn for unity spilled lustrously upon my lips. Okay. That's your second Beltane card. Let's see what your third one is. Sacred waters. Drunken by the swell of the sea, I can feel the blanket of her embrace. Unafraid of the presence, releasing the cords, I call her in, I call her deeply within. Okay, those are your Beltane cards. Let's give you a couple tarot cards and see what else you need to know this week. This spicy, kind of fertile energy week. Okay, you've got the Hanged Man, very watery version of the Hanged Man. Okay, stopping to kind of savor it all. There's a lot of beautiful energy this week. Enjoy it. The 7 of fire, cinnamon. There's the spice that's going on with all the planets and fire signs. And clinging to the past, 5. So changing. Okay, so you're kind of holding in the beginning and you're clinging at the end. But you seem pretty in the moment here with the cinnamon, right? It's keeping you focused. 7 of fire, traditionally called the 7 of wands. So clinging to the past, sacred waters. All right, releasing the cords. Okay, let me pull one more in here and see what we got. The Knight of Swords, this raven, up on his stand here. Okay, so he looks so in the present moment, right? He's alert, he's aware, he's high up. So this is kind of showing me here that you're like slowing down. Make sure to slow down to enjoy this Beltane week. But also, the question about clinging to the past is coming up at the end. And we know we're in fresh energy, so we don't really want to be clinging. And here's the Harmony card. Okay. So allowing yourselves, like he looks like he's just being washed free of any worry. Okay, so the clinging to the past, and we had under here this swell of the sea and releasing the cords. So you're releasing some old stuff here, kind of showing more in the moment, kind of committing to yourself, showing up here. So enjoy this beautiful week. Let me throw you some dice on top of this, see if that helps at all. And you rolled, let's see, is that Pluto in Libra in the 7th house? So basically double Libra and Pluto, and we know Pluto rules sex and it's Beltane week. So I would say just enjoy it and try to work on letting go of the past. And it's not even work, it's just letting go. Just envision letting go, trying to be a little bit more in the moment. Okay, I feel like cinnamon might be a good way. Like cinnamon's got such a kick to it. It's almost like bring you back into the moment. And I'm getting the vibe that you need to pause and enjoy the relationships that show up in your life this week and in general in your life, with this hand fasting right in the center and basically rolling double Libra, which I think I hit this because now it says Sagittarius, but it did say Libra before. Okay, have a wonderful week ahead. So thanks for joining me for this month of April. I'm really excited about April. I am really ready for some change of energy, a little shift. I think things have been a little too stagnant for too long, confusing, all those planets in Pisces. And it's definitely going to be a big shift as the planets move into Aries. You've heard me talking a few times that I don't really feel such a difference between neighboring signs as you do from Pisces to Aries, Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac and Aries being the first. So I think there's a big shift in general just from that. But we go from this watery season, up here in New England, it's just been cold and dark, and we're coming out of that now into clarity and forward movement. So celebrate that you have gotten through another winter, celebrate that spring is here, celebrate that these planets are going to start to move forward, but also please reflect on all that you have learned through these retrograde periods, because if you're anything like me, you've been back and forth over a lot of things right now, and now we're going to start to have more clarity on exactly which way to go. Okay, so thank you again. Have a great month ahead.